Hi everyone! So today mag-uusap na naman tayo about skincare, specifically about an ingredient that is becoming more and more popular across social media, lalong-lalo na sa TikTok. And this is retinol and retinoids, or yung tinatawag nating vitamin A derivatives. So as you guys all know, retinol and retinoids are really a powerhouse ingredient sa skincare. They have lots of benefits for skin aging, acne, dark marks, texture, and so much more skin concerns. Parang jack of all trades nga siya if you think about it. But kung skincare enthusiast ka like me, alam nyo na that with retinol and retinoids, there are a lot of things na kailangan natin i-consider bago siya gamitin. So in this video, we're going to be doing a deep dive on retinol and retinoids, kung paano ba sila properly gamitin, paano pumili, and other very important questions. And what better way to ask those questions than to a board-certified dermatologist, which is why we are welcoming back Dr. Gaile Robredo-Vitas, who, as you guys know, is currently practicing at Derm HQ in Makati and Boutique MD in Bonifacio Global City. Welcome back, Doc Gaile. Kumusta ka na?
Hi, Jan! Kumusta ka na? Na-miss kita. It's been a while since our last collab. Actually, Jan, sobrang timely yung collab natin because gaya nga ng sinabi mo earlier, ang dami-daming nababasa online, dami-daming napapanood on social media, TikTok, Instagram, about retinoids and, ang dami-dami nagtatanong sa akin about them. Kaya nga sobrang happy ako that we're doing this now. And like you said, because nga so much information is available out there, kailangan malaman natin kung ano ba talaga yung totoo at kung ano ba talaga yung hindi. So, mabuti na pinag-uusapan natin to in this way.
Yes, super agree, Doc. And ang dami din talaga kasi mga questions ng mga tao when it comes to retinol and retinoids, especially since, yun nga, sumisikat na siya sa TikTok. So, hopefully, we get to cover as much as possible in this video, especially since meron tayong skin expert in our presence. So, ako, Doc, personally, the biggest thing that stuck with me when it comes to yung derm ko na in-advise niya sa akin na gumamit ng retinol or retinoids is yung emphasis niya on sun protection. So, I guess just to enlighten yung mga posibleng beginner natin na viewers, why is sun protection so important kapag gumagamit tayo ng retinol or retinoids?
Well, ito yung natutunan ko din sabi ng mentor ko when I was still a resident, the only true anti-aging ingredient or product daw talaga is sunscreen. Kasi ano ba talaga yung nagko-cause ng aging natin? Sabi nila more than 80% is caused by UV radiation. Using sunscreen in itself can delay aging and even improve your skin. So parang 'di ba gumagamit tayo usually ng retinoids for anti-aging, to make our skin look better. So parang kinokontra mo yung ginagawa ng retinoids if you're not applying sunscreen. Number 1 yun. Number 2, when you're using retinoids kasi, syempre, meron mga process na nangyayari sa skin natin like increased skin turnover and everything. So, kailangan natin protektahan yung balat natin from the damage caused by the UV radiation by applying sunscreen. And yun ang sinasabi ko sa mga patients ko, you know what, even if you're not using retinoids, sobrang importante pa rin gumamit ng sunscreen. Yung mga anak ko, alam nila yan. At such a young age, they are aware na of, the importance of using sunscreen.
So, very critical pa rin pala talaga, Doc, yung sun protection, which is why sa mga nanonood ngayon, this is your sign, mag-apply na kayo ng sunscreen kasi nakikita kayo ni Doc. But anyway, Doc, going back to retinol and retinoids as ingredients, I guess a big question, lalo na sa mga beginners, is ano ba talaga yung difference ng retinol or retinoids?
Okay. So, yung retinoids is everything that you mentioned, tretinoin, retinol, they're all retinoids. So, it's a class of ingredients that are vitamin A derived. So, the original retinoid is the tretinoin. So, it's the most potent and it doesn't need to convert pag nilagay natin sa balat natin. And it is one that can do everything. Kaya lang kasi yung tretinoin is irritating. So, not everyone can tolerate it. And that is why, siguro naisip na sayang naman yung tretinoin, sobrang ganda, hindi magagamit ng lahat. So then, na-discover na rin yung retinol, the milder version of tretinoin, but the main purpose of that is more for anti-aging. So, ngayon, marami ng studies about retinol and I think it's one of the more popular retinoids kasi nga ito yung available over the counter.
Also, additionally, Doc, na-curious din ako because this is a retinoid product that I see a lot in the market. So, I just wanted to ask, where does Maxipeel belong in all of this? Kasi 'di ba, Doc, may tretinoin ang Maxipeel. So, when it comes to this product, how should people go about this? Lalong-lalo na yung over-counter na tretinoin siya.
So, tretinoin and hydroquinone are, at least as far as I know as of this shooting, They are prescription medication in the Philippines. These ingredients, while very good, meron kasi siyang mga masasabi natin na potential side effects if not used correctly. Ang advice ko lang, kasi nga, I guess here it's over the counter, if you really want to use it, make sure that you really understand how to use it properly. Siguro consult your dermatologist. Ang masama kasi dyan, sa goal natin na magpaganda, diba? Minsan we try things, tapos ang mamaya niyan parang hindi pala maganda yung effect sa atin. So, like I said, these two ingredients are good. I also use them, I give them to my patients. Very important lang talaga na guided yung application mo. And you know kung ano yung mga possible side effects and how to deal with them if they happen.
What I heard is, kapag gumagamit ka ng hydroquinone, just very generally ko siya narinig, parang meron siyang mga rest period, like you cannot use it indefinitely. Totoo ba yun, Doc?
Yes, correct. So normally kami, depending on the percentage and the concentration and the indication, we usually give it for a certain number of months lang or even weeks, and then nagbibigay kami ng rest period. Kasi I'm sure yung mga nagbabasa dyan, alam nyo yung, nabasa nyo na siguro, you've come across the dreaded side effect of hydroquinone, which is ochronosis. I'm sure nabasa mo na yun dyan, di ba? It's yung parang bluish-grayish pigmentation on the face na sobrang hirap tanggalin.
Alright, so staying on the topic of tretinoin, Doc, since nandito na rin tayo, when it comes to using stronger retinoids, like for example, tretinoin and let's say adapalene, so in terms of effects on the skin, how would you differentiate yung use nila?
Yung tretinoin kasi is something that binds to a lot of receptors in the skin that does different things. So it's an anti-aging, it's an anti-acne, it sometimes even, affects pigmentation, daylight and pigmentation, etc. Kumbaga, it's a do-it-all. Kaya niya gawin lahat. Yung adapalene naman is different in a way that it's more directed towards treating acne. And it's less irritating again than your tretinoin. So, kung ako tatanungin mo, when do I give tretinoin, when do I give adapalene? Normally, if I'm treating, a younger patient with acne, tapos medyo on the sensitive side, I give adapalene. But for example, if I'm treating someone who wants, anti-aging effects, tapos meron konting, acne and comedones, I give tretinoin. So, depende pa rin yan. It really depends on your patient's desires, needs, skin issues, and also what we see in the patient.
For example, meron lumapit sa'yo with a concern na they are young, let's say mga early 20s, and they want to address their acne, pero worried din sila about their aging process. Like, for example, nakita nila sa parents nila yung, for example, pattern ng eye wrinkles. How do you usually go about that kung meron din silang aging concerns?
Well, ako kasi normally, if a patient comes to me asking for anti-aging advice, sinasabi ko na, you really start to age siguro when you turn 25 or in your late 20s. So before that, anti-aging shouldn't really be your concern. Your concern should be more of preventive measures like applying sunscreens, properly cleaning your face. Pero yung parang gagamit ka ng tretinoin as anti-aging at that age, like early 20s, parang hindi ko siya masyadong ina-encourage. So parang kung young ka tapos acne lang yung problema mo, tapos sensitive skin ka, I would probably go more and give you adapalene. But if you're super oily, hindi ka naman sensitive, and you have acne, pwede naman yung tretinoin. Kaya lang yung tretinoin kasi as an ingredient itself is irritating. Kaya parang, di ba minsan, pag gumagamit ka nun in mga first few days mo, talaga may mga flaking, ganyan. And then, you're supposed to be able to adjust and tolerate it. Pero kasi merong mga individuals like myself, ako talaga parang, oh my God, 3 buwan na, nag-flake pa rin ako. So, tsaka meron redness, irritation if I use higher concentration. So, it's really, I would say, about 20 to 30% of individuals cannot tolerate higher concentrations of tretinoin. And that's why nagkaroon nga nitong mga breakaway retinoids or yung mga synthetic derivatives like your retinol, retinaldehyde, because sayang naman yung benefits na makukuha mo from the retinoids if you cannot, tolerate it.
So now, Doc, sa usapang retinoids, hindi talaga natin may iwasan yung usapang purging, no? Or yung sinasabi natin parang magiging worse muna siya in some way before maging better siya. So ang question ko, Doc, is bakit ba siya nangyayari kapag gumagamit tayo ng mga retinol or retinoids?
Alam mo, John, that's very interesting, no? Kasi I've been in practice for 8 years, and nung narinig ko yan, siguro mga 2018, 2019, binalikan ko talaga yung mga textbooks ko ng residency. Wala kasi yan sa textbooks namin. Walang term na purging. I remember calling it the acne flare. So, Nangyayari to normally in patients with moderate to severe acne that we put on retinoids. It happens because retinoids, and not just retinoids actually, exfoliants or even benzoyl peroxide because it's a keratolytic, it can also happen. Any product or ingredient that increases the skin turnover, pinapabilis na yung pagpalit ng balat. So parang yung explanation namin sa patients is, yung mga pangit na nasa ilalim, nilalabas niya. Usually yung purging, it happens in areas na meron ka na talagang acne, tapos sabay-sabay siya, and it usually lasts 2 to 4 weeks. Pag nangyari yun sa'yo, it could mean that the ingredient is working, it's doing its job. So you can wait mga 2 to 4 weeks, and it's supposed to get better. If it doesn't, and if mag-worsen siya, then it might actually be acne, and you might need something else to address that. There are rare occasions na it lasts longer than that, but ang maganda lang kasi dyan is when we give it, we tell our patients about it. And pag nangyari yun sa kanila, meron naman pwedeng magawa about them. Kasi nakaka-discourage siya minsan, diba? Kasi parang, kaya ako nagpatingin sa derma para gumanda yung balat ko, bakit sobrang pumangit? So, it's very, very important to explain to them that this is a possibility and that there is something you can do in case sobrang severe talaga siya.
So, with that being said, Doc, can you give us a few tips on maybe how we can monitor yung skin natin for signs of purging kapag gumagamit tayo ng ganitong mga products like retinoids?
Mabuti na tanong mo yan dyan kasi parang I feel like I have to say this. Yung purging, it's not really that common. In fact, a majority of my patients, when I start them on retinoids, exfoliants, karamihan sa kanila hindi naman naka-experience ng purging. But kasi it's a real issue, and I guess since a lot of these, over-the-counter retinoids and exfoliants have become more available in the market, mas marami nang gumagamit. And totoo naman na meron talagang naka-experience ng purging. So remember that purging only happens when you use ingredients that increase skin turnover. Yung pinapabilis sila yung pagpalit ng balat. So for example, gumamit ka ng, say, hyaluronic acid, tapos nagkaroon ka ng pimples. That's not purging from that ingredient. Kasi hyaluronic acid as an ingredient is a moisturizer. It does not increase skin turnover. Pwede naman acne na yan. Yung iba kasi, they mistake acne mismo and purging. So palagi ko sinasabi, pag more than 4 to 6 weeks na yan, acne na yan, hindi na yan purging. It means that whatever you're using is probably not enough. Kasi normally, pag mild to moderate acne, sometimes kaya ng pahid or topical medications. However, if it's moderate to severe na, hindi na talaga sila masyadong nag-respond to topical. Kailangan na ng oral and other, added treatments. I have some patients, actually most of my patients who experience yung purging are those with moderate to severe acne. And if that happens, sinasabi ko sa kanila, let me know, kasi meron naman pwedeng idagdag na pwede ibigay to minimize yung purging. So, yun lang naman, I suggest that, if it does happen to you and you don't know what to do, best pa rin to consult talaga. Kasi yung ayaw naman natin dyan is yung severe purging that can lead to scarring. Kasi mas mahirap i-treat yung scars.
Also, Doc, maraming tao usually have this dilemma kapag gumagamit sila ng mga retinol or retinoids. Usually, tinatanong nila, how do we know if it's just purging or if we should stop using the retinol or the retinoid already?
Usually kasi when you start using retinoids, meron kang goal, di ba? Either anti-acne or gusto mo na anti-aging. So, kung anti-acne siya, and nag-purge ka, I will definitely encourage you to continue. Kasi stopping it will not naman get rid of your acne, di ba? But for example, if you try it as an anti-aging ingredient, for example, wala ka namang problema, and then nag-purge ka, if it doesn't stop or if it continues to get worse even beyond 4 weeks, then I suggest you discontinue it or you consult your dermatologist about it. Pero normally naman, sabi ko nga, in my experience, a lot of my patients, even I think a majority of my patients who start tretinoin for anti-aging, halos hindi sila nag-experience ng purging talaga. It's really more those who are with mild acne or are acne prone. Pero like for example sa age ko, wag na natin sabihin ko ang age ko, but pag nag-start ako ng retinoids, highly unlikely na magpa-purge ako.
I actually got a very interesting question sa Facebook group namin asking if someone switches from one type of retinoid to another. Let's say, tretinoin, tapos lumipat siya to Adapalene. Or even Adapalene to just an over-the-counter retinol. Is purging still possible?
Actually, very common question din yan dyan. Kasi nga, kinatatakutan talaga ng lahat yung purging. So parang, meron ako mga patients, Doc, parang gusto ko mag-shift to tretinoin, kaya lang baka mag-purge na naman ako. But based on my experience, once a patient's skin has adjusted to retinoids, it's very unlikely na mag-experience siya ng purging kahit magpalit siya. Yung worry ko actually is not on purging but more on irritation. So for example, if ako, I'm on the Adapalene for my acne and then nag-clear na, and then I want to shift to Tretinoin kasi syempre parang anti-aging na yung concern ko. Since I'm shifting from a parang less irritating, less potent to a more irritating and more potent type of retinoid, I would probably again start slow. Alam mo yun, yung the usual, parang nagsisimula ka ulit ng bago. Having said that though, it's not just changing the types of retinoids, it's also increasing concentration. So for example, you're on 0.04% or 0.05% na tretinoin, tapos gusto mo mag 0.1. Kailangan mo pa rin magdahan-dahan and, parang be cautious about it. Parang start ka again every other night and then saka lang every night pag naka-adjust na yung skin. But if it's the other way around, for example, I'm on tretinoin pero parang gusto ko i-try yung retinol na kinikwento sa akin ng friend ko na maganda daw. Since I'm moving from a higher and more potent concentration to a less potent concentration, hindi na ako mag-a-adjust. Kumbaga, pwede ko na siya gamitin gabi-gabi.
So it's not necessarily na magpa-purge yung skin, but it could just be na in its nature, yung tretinoin talaga is more irritating compared to retinol. So someone might experience even more irritation. So now na na-cover na natin yung purging, Doc, meron naman akong mga questions na i-ask na very specific sila and people usually ask this about retinoids. So starting with this first question, Doc, ang sabi nila is, according to derms, we should avoid applying topical retinoids or just even retinol around the eyes or dito din sa sides ng nose natin or even around the lip area. Kasi daw, Doc, sabi nila, yun yung mga sensitive areas. Pero, Doc, and very, very interesting to, what if sila yung mga problem areas natin? So, for example, you want to avoid yung mga eye wrinkles or may acne sa sides ng mga nose and so on. So, how do we go about this?
Alam mo, naalala ko din yan. In fact, when I was a resident, we would tell our patients to apply petroleum jelly. Alam ko yun, sa corners of the eyes, in corners of the nose, and corners of the mouth. Kasi sometimes may tendency na mag-accumulate yung product doon or ingredients and can cause irritation. Specifically, yun na nga yung mga minention mo, retinoids, sometimes even mga exfoliants. But having said that, like ako naman, as long as you apply it evenly and distribute it so that hindi siya naiipon dun sa areas na yun, okay lang naman, especially nga if you have normal to combination and oily skin. But yun na nga, parang yung areas kasi na na-mention mo, they're also thin. Tapos yung pag napansin mo yung area na yun, parang nag-wrinkle sila. So, meron talagang tendency na maipon yung product and can cause irritation. But, di ba when you apply product, like for example, ako I do this and then I apply it all over, tapos hindi ka naman naka-experience ng irritation, okay lang naman yun. And if you want to target specific areas, for example, na-mention mo eye wrinkles, pero sensitive ka, you can use like an eye cream or even a face cream with lower concentration. So normally, if you look at eye creams with retinoids, it would usually contain around 0.01% or lower concentration. Pwede din naman yun. Pero kung sensitive ka nga, tapos prone ka to having dryness in this area, you can apply a thin layer of moisturizer prior to applying your retinoids all over your face.
And then, Doc, may isa pa akong very, very popular question na madalas tinatanong, especially when it comes to these actives and especially when it comes to retinoids. So, kunyari, Doc, nag-clear up na yung skin after using, let's say, retinol or retinoids, people usually look for what they call a maintenance routine. So, ang question ko, Doc, is, necessary ba yun, yung pag-switch to a maintenance routine kapag nakuha mo na yung results na gusto mo from retinol or retinoids?
Well, it depends. Kasi like ako, para sa akin, kasi part of my maintenance ko yung retinoids ko eh. So, it's really part of my, everyday routine. I apply retinol at night. Ang advice ko lang is usually more for patients with acne. Kasi, especially those with moderate to severe acne, hindi naman enough yung retinoids lang. Usually, we combine them with antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, and normally, pag clear na yung skin nila, we do a step down, tinatanggal na natin yung mga hindi kailangan. So normally, I maintain them lang on either Adapalene or if they really wanna shift to more anti-aging lang, to Tretinoin or retinol. Ngayon, ang nangyayari usually is that, di ba, as we age, our issues change. Like, for example, Ako, yung pigmentation ko naglalabasan na, nagkakaroon ako ng fine lines and wrinkles. So apart from, instead of like discontinuing my retinoids, nadadagdagan pa siya actually. So I add, my antioxidants, I add my anti-pigmentation, my exfoliants, etc. Because ako talaga, it is my belief that retinoids should actually be part of your maintenance skincare routine if you can tolerate them.
I see. So, Doc, for those who nagustuhan nila yung results na kuha nila from the retinoids or the retinol that they use, if it works for them, they can use it indefinitely naman.
Yeah, I would say so. Kasi parang ilang taon ko nang ginagamit yung retinol. Parang okay naman siya. Yun nga lang, I add other ingredients as I go along, di ba?
Alright, so Doc Gaile, I think we covered a lot of very important points in this video when it comes to using retinol or retinoids. And as usual, Doc Gaile, lagi ko nga sinasabi, I wish I had more time to ask other questions. But I think this will do for now. So I'm so grateful, Doc Gaile. Thank you so much for coming back to our channel.
Nako, always grateful as well. Kasi ang galing yan, dami mo kasing nare-reach, ang dami mong viewers. So, thank you for doing this and thank you for really taking time to answer, mga questions about skin and skincare. Ako, super grateful din ako for this opportunity to at least share what I know to more people.
Ayan, so happy to have you back again, Doc Gaile. And guys, if you want to see more of Doc Gaile's content, she's actually very active with a growing audience on social media. So, Doc Gaile, where can we find you on social media?
Nako, thank you yan sa mga very helpful mentors and co-creators like Jan.
Wow.
Na palagi kong tinatanong minsan about that. So guys, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Irene Gaile and on YouTube as Dr. Gaile Robredo-Vitas.
Alright, so thank you again, Doc Gaile. And if you guys want more topics for me and or Doc Gaile to cover, let us know in the comments below. And if you found this video informative, as usual, please do leave us a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. And as always, guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye!